Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sandy Glaze. I'm a personal transformation and self-development coach. And I wanted to do a short video today. A lot of questions are coming up about frequencies and light and understanding how the two of them work together. We're starting to realize that sound and color and frequency is what can heal people from different ailments, what have you. But what I wanted to talk a bit about was I've come across some different information that I thought was going to be pretty helpful. So I talk an awful lot about the visible spectrum of light. And why this matters so much is because these 7 colors are the colors of the Hindu chakra system. And I find the Hindu chakra system is the most most in alignment with most people in North America. So I know Tibet has a chakra system. I think the Cherokee nations have a chakra system. I can't remember if there's one in Thailand as well. So I want to talk about these colors because what is coming up again for me is I'm going through all my dowsing books is the color blue. And what I was looking at with some of my books was how to douse for radiation. So this is neutralizing environmental radiations, right? So I'm looking through at all the different types of radiation, and I think there's good radiation and there's not so beneficial radiation. And I'm not implying that I'm an expert on this or anything, but what I wanted to show was something that I came across recently. And if you can see this, it says how electromagnetic radiation interacts with the human body. And I was quite impressed with this. It came off a curriculum, I think, from grade 1 to grade 8. And although it doesn't mention the chakras, it still gives us the point of where the energy flows. So we can see here radio waves would be your sacral or your root chakra. Microwaves would be your sacral chakra. Infrared would be your solar plexus. And I thought this was really interesting because the visible light is your heart chakra. And what had happened maybe a week or so ago, I was watching a video with Bruce Lipton, and he was describing white when you allow light to penetrate and go through a prism. And what he showed was the white light going through, and it did come out with the 7 colors of the chakra colors. And then he went in and looked at the 7 colors and shot it out, and that was the white color. And for people who maybe are aligned with this or not, I see that white color is the Christ of consciousness. That's the God spark. So I thought this was really interesting that it was in the heart. But what he did was he took one of the colors out, and it didn't matter what color he removed. But when he removed one of the colors, it wasn't white anymore. So I think that's part of like a light spiritual attack on the God concept or the Christ of consciousness. But I was quite pleased with this. And then as you see, we go up to ultraviolet, where the throat chakra is. X-ray would be your third eye, and then the gamma rays would be your higher consciousness. So I've got quite a few source materials for understanding energy. And this one's called The Subtle Body. I don't know if I can hold that up better. The Subtle Body. And it's a coloring book. So the idea is as you're coloring through this book, you're starting to align more energetically with the materials in the book. And what I thought was really interesting, it talks about the physical fields of light. And guess what it says? Radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet light, X-rays and gammas. And then it starts to list the chakras. Now, in this particular book, I know I go with just the 7 just to help people get started in understanding about the chakras, but there are more. So I'm going to try to hold this up and wait until the computer can latch onto it. Come on. Why would it do that this time? There we go. So if you can see, this woman is standing in the middle of her aura and within all these rays, and it talks about the lower frequencies here. So this is radio wave, microwave, and infrared. These are the slower energies. When you look at this line right here, this basically is what I consider to be the auras, all 7 of the colors. And, you know, they outline more so here where the 11th chakra is in your hand chakra and your feet chakra. But if you notice out here in the bottom, you can see that it's not moving very fast. But as we get into the higher chakra levels, it starts to speed up quite extensively. And when we're talking in the top in the gamma rays, the X-ray, and the ultraviolet ray, we're talking in the faster energies. And this is where our consciousness is waking up. So I think it's a really good opportunity to look at some of these tools, but look at them in a way that we can start to visualize how the energy systems work in our body. So I apologize that the computer's not picking this up again. I don't quite know why it wouldn't. So give it a second and see if it grabs it. No, it's not going to. But I thought this was so interesting. And even it shows here, it shows the 10th chakra is below your feet. And it shows the 9th chakra is above your head. because these chakras, we're still connected to the energy. We're connected to the earth energies through the ground and through our feet, and we're connected through the cosmos, right? But I thought this was so interesting, and listening to Bruce Lipton talk about the visible spectrum of light, because what it is, when you take one of those colors out, and you know what flag I'm referring to, I always do refer to that flag. One, there's 7 colors in the rainbow, the spiritual rainbow, that's the rainbow bridge. There's only 6 colors in a certain flag, but that's Luciferian. And when we start to see that, so I started looking at, what do you call them? Concurrent circuits, concurrent, am I saying this right? Concentric circles. So I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the triangles, and what it means is oneness. So I'm starting to wonder if they're using the sacred geometry as well to cause manipulations of the mind through those flags with all those colors. Because when we look at them, we look at colors, there's 3 primary colors. I'm sure everybody's aware of this. It's just going to be maybe a refresher. There's 3 primary colors, and that is red, blue, and yellow. And then if you want a secondary color, you take 2 primary colors and you mix them together, and that gets you a secondary color. If you want a tertiary color, the 3rd type of color, you take a primary and a secondary and put them together. So there's all kinds of colors out there, and I'm not denying any of that, but they're still based on the 3 primary colors. And that's just what you get. It's no different than going into a store, a paint store, and looking at all the paint chips. They can do a variety of shades. So if you want a tint, you put in a white color. If you want a shade, you put in a black color. And if you want a tone, you put in a gray color. So we can manipulate all of those colors, but those colors are still on the visible spectrum of light. And where I was going with this, so I have a full spectrum light bulb, and it was interesting because I was just talking to a friend about it, where I got it from last week, and I'm already using it because there's a lot of overcast skies. And what the full spectrum does, it helps bring in serotonin and melatonin. And what it is, it just helps bring in happiness and calm. And when I had my dog, I had the lamp here on this table, and it was aiming on the floor. And even though there wasn't a bed underneath it, underneath him, he would come and lay under that light. So what that light does is it emulates natural sunlight. Now, this particular bulb, they say there's all kinds of healing properties or clearing properties, like molds, dust, allergens, like all kinds of things. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I want to talk about the full spectrum of light, because why this is so important is the full spectrum of light is going to be what happens between the 3rd chakra, the infrared, and the ultraviolet. And why that is important, because as the earth is changing, the sun is changing. We're noticing the sun is turning white now instead of yellow. And I think that's all the ultraviolet coming in. But that's where the full spectrum of light covers the infrared range all the way up to the ultraviolet. And as we're going into higher realms of consciousness, and maybe dimensions, if you want to call it that way, I think it's really important that we start to look at light in with a different context. So this is just something, one of the definitions I pulled off. Full spectrum is light that covers the electromagnetic spectrum from infrared to near ultraviolet, or all wavelengths that are useful in plant or animal life. In particular, sunlight is considered full spectrum. So again, it's just the timing of having that light, what we're seeing right now with the sun changing. But I think it's really important that if we're going to help move with consciousness and help elevate our consciousness, that we start to see how the energy fields work around our body. And I'm not sure if it's going to let me do it this time or not either. But this here one, if you can see, is very faint. That's the one I think is the aura, the 7 colors, and everything else is outside. Now this system shows 11 chakras. I believe there's another 12th one, but that's what helps us connect with the ethers. So I'm hoping this is helpful. I just realized that maybe I wasn't giving enough context when I'm talking about color and why it is so important that we understand the color and the geometry. All of this is the basic, what do you call it, like the building stones for how we're built as humans and how we interact with the earth and how we connect. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope it wasn't too scrambled, but I just, like I said, wanted to share that. So if you like it, please feel free to like it and share it with anyone else that you want to. And we're going to go into this higher consciousness no matter what, but I think it's time I start showing people how to do it, not just the what, but the how. So anyways, I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye. And I just wanted to add one last thing. I forgot to mention this earlier. So when you're looking at the light bulb that's full spectrum, I also have a pair of glasses that are full spectrum. And what these do, they were sold at a hydroponics store for people who were using indoor hydroponic gardens. So because of the lights they're using, so you can see by the color, the difference in color. And I put these on sometimes in the house, and really not a lot changes, but when I put it on and I'm looking outside, and I'll give an example is the fall trees. So we still have a few trees around here that the leaves are fairly red, but when you put these glasses on, you would not believe the colors. It almost becomes magical. And the only examples I can think of would be the movie Avatar, when you're looking at the fauna in the forest, when whatever his name, Jarhead, first starts running around on the top of the trees. When you start looking at that, that's the only thing I can think of as computers. And I know on computers you can do something to really brighten up the pages and make them look not like from another dimension. But that's what I thought. And the other thing I was thinking of was when you look at pictures or you look at documentaries of what's happening down at different reefs in the ocean floor, some of those colors are so vibrant, but that's what I think we're coming into. And I think a lot of that is going to be, as the sun keeps changing, we're going to start seeing different colors, and we're going to see into different dimensions. But I wanted to share that as well. So I think these are like $60, but if you're trying to see what it's going to be like to see in the ultraviolet world, it might be worth it even just to go and try a pair on and see what you think yourself. But I wanted to share that as well. So thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.